Okay, this question's come up a few times, so I think I'll address it. Here's one example of it. This is from last year, actually 2 years ago. I have an Elite 750 and a PD16. Can I use the HBOs on a PD16 to drive an electronic throttle? Now, the other question I saw yesterday, which I can't find now on Facebook, is I've got an Elite 750, can I use a DCMD to drive an electronic throttle body? So I've got high and low side outputs on the Elite 750. Now, the obvious response is no, the 750 doesn't support drive-by-wire. You can't enable it in the firmware. Fair enough. But I thought I might explain why this is. When Haltech first created the drive-by-wire system for the first Elite, this is right after Toyota had the major unexplained or uncommanded acceleration problem, if anyone remembers that. So they had various instances of Toyotas with electronic throttle just taking off, and originally they said it was because of floor mats sticking and pushing the accelerator pedal, which I don't think anyone really believed. I think they eventually found the firmware bug after that, but apparently there was some scale. I can't remember exactly what it is. You can probably look it up on Wikipedia. Anyway, so the Haltech drive-by-wire system has got a lot of safety and redundancy stuff built into it. So I might just explain the way it works in an Elite 2500 or a Nexus R3 or R5 for that matter. And that is, you've got the drive-by-wire throttle body here. Now there are actually two position sensors here, so I'll just draw them as two separate pots there. There might be pots, there might be a Hall effect, doesn't really matter. And then the pedal position sensor also has two pots on it, so 5 volts and a ground there as well. And they all connect back to the ECU. So you take up 4 analog inputs on the ECU, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or whatever you're using. Now within the ECU, so we've already got the redundancy here because we've got 2 position sensors on the throttle and 2 position sensors on the pedal. So within the ECU, there's the main microcontroller, which these all go into, and that is what actually does the drive-by-wire control. I'll just show those 2 wires there. So there's the half bridge or the full bridge driver. I'll just write driver there, and micro controls that. So that's a fairly basic system there, but the Haltech ECUs actually have more redundancy in that. They've got an extra processor here. I'll just call it coprocessor, which all these AVIs also connect into. So it measures these as well as the main micro measuring them, and they talk to each other, and if they disagree with their readings, then they shut down the throttle as a safety thing, as well as the micro has got to, those two have got to agree with each other, and those two have got to agree with each other, and the throttle has to be tracking the target as well. So if any of those things are not working out, then the micro can shut down the throttle. The other thing is that these 2 processors talk to each other, and they do a cross-check on each other's maths. And if one of them, if they disagree, then either one can shut down the throttle driver here. So if one of them goes crazy or crashes or something like that, that will shut down the throttle. And so there's a lot of redundancy there in the system to stop any bad things happening. So it's a lot more than just a simple servo controller. So this doesn't work if you're connecting this directly to a PD16, because the PD16 only has one microcontroller in it. So the AVIs go directly into the micro, but there's no redundancy here. There's no extra micro here to do the safety checking on it. The other thing is that we wouldn't want the main micro or the main ECU to be talking to the PD16 over CAN and sending throttle messages that way on a link which could be very easily broken by someone shorting the CAN wires to ground or whatever, or something like that. You really want dedicated wires if you're doing electronic throttle. The other example that the person posted on Facebook, which I can't find a link for anymore, is if you have an Elite 750, apart from the fact that you're probably going to run out of AVIs, they do go directly into the micro, but there's no coprocessor here which also measures these and provides the safety. Apart from the fact that you don't have the driver, you could get around that with the DCMD, but you don't have the ability to shut them down with the other processor. So that's why you can't just add drive-by wire. It's actually something that's really central to the control policy of the ECU.